Just doing my thing.
Thank you for tuning in to the Voice of C38.
No, thank you.
And viewing in. This is another one of those audio-video podcasts. So if you're interested in that, you're going to have to make sure you hit up our YouTube channel.
Are we going to keep this clean or explicit?
Whatever comes out, but we try to keep it clean.
Explicit, I'm pretty sure. Fuck.
But it's only a matter of time before Austin drops something.
Already did. We're already explicit.
It's too much editing, I guess.
Sleep.
Is that what it comes down to? But we are coming off the back of the only loss at home, which ended our playoff run. It's hard to kick off a podcast on a positive note when your season's over. We're done, guys. This is it. There's no more Rapids games. There's nothing to look forward to until February. As far as game-wise go, now that granted, there's going to be some stuff in the off season, and I think every one of us fans are going to be keeping a close eye on our emails, press releases, Rapids websites, and whatnot for whatever comes out of the organization in the next couple months. There's
Whatever comes out of the dick.
There's going to be a handful of things going off.
Going off like a timer.
Going off like a timer.
That's funny.
That was the quickest 11 minutes.
Right? That's telling me to start the 11 minutes.
Yeah, you've wasted a minute of our time already.
All right. Okay. So before we go into what's going to be happening in the off season, let's spend a little bit of time reflecting on the 1-0.
Pouring some salt in those wounds.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we just kind of have to keep with formation of what we've been doing for the last season. I mean, it would be difficult not to talk about a game.
We have to keep our shape.
Yeah, a little bit.
See what I did there?
Yeah. How much of that was not being done? I mean, I don't know. It wasn't a bad game. It was kind of... I think it was a poorly reffed game.
You always think it's a poorly ref game.
Yes.
Because it's always a poorly reffed game. This is
Thank
the MLS.
you, Austin. Thank you.
For those who are wondering, that disembodied voice is none other than...
No, he's not disembodied if you're watching the video.
Right.
Oh, that's true.
He's just taking a swig of beer.
Am I the only one who can't see him?
Yeah.
You just that's your way of pointing out that we weren't introduced this time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, timer threw me off and told me I had to start by starting.
That was a
11.
whole minute into not being introduced when that timer went
The
off.
timer got mad at me.
You
I
didn't even
thought
mention
maybe
that John's with us today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
On our left is John.
Yeah. Say hi, John.
What's going on?
John is the awesome videographer guy who's been doing a lot of the video stuff for us, especially in the second half of the season here and our video podcast. So thank
Thanks,
you
guys.
for jumping on and picking up, doing a lot of hard work this
Hey,
season.
it's for a good cause.
And then, yes, we've got Matt
we said
joining
so.
us.
Oh, hi.
Oh, you?
And so
Just walked in. Just a second.
if you checked out MLS's blog or guides to blogs, they had Toronto.
Toronto may have just
We're
secured
getting in the
MLS Cup.
Wayback.
Yep.
Getting in the Wayback machine, listener.
That dude just came on for Giovinco, too.
You already know what happened in this game.
But we're recording it as it's
Crazy.
happening.
You probably can see on
We're
the
watching
cameras.
the Rapids alumni team.
As Brian would put it. And speaking of Brian, if you happen to have caught the podcast list on MLS site, they have ours listed.
We exist.
And they call it a full house laid back
Colorado
atmosphere.
style.
And I think that has to do a little bit of a nod to you, my friend.
You're welcome.
I think Aloha Brian has gotten us the laid back atmosphere.
Aloha,
Brian's
friends.
a lot more laid back than Colorado. He is definitely Kawhi laid back.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. At least I'm not...
Considering he does not partake in what most Coloradans would probably
Or
say.
Hawaiians, for that matter.
Neither do
exactly.
I. The meth? I only want,
Oh, jeez, no.
everything I know about Hawaii comes from Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Pretty
A lot
much.
of meth out there.
What you see is what you see.
Was there a game this weekend?
In Hawaii?
Yeah, there was a 45-minute game that was outstanding.
Yeah. And then
Well,
the
that was
second
good.
half, yeah.
It really was the old tale of two halves, glass half empty, half full, whatever you want to call it.
It's half empty.
Man, the first half, they look so promising, and I even asked Kevin Doyle. I said, and we'll hear a little bit more from him later, but I said it was so positive, and you guys had so much forward possession and movement, and it fell off the table in the second half, and that was discouraging.
It seemed like as soon as Seattle scored, that just took the air out of the balloon, the momentum out of the team, no matter what kind of cliche you want to use. It was almost as if they realized with the goal differential that it's over.
They knew that was the game winner,
and
or the series winner, I should say.
And the way I looked at it is, you've got 11 guys on the field, a few on the bench. They've all been teammates. They've all been playing together for a season. When that goal happened, I don't think that there was enough confidence in this squad, in their offense and what they do.
You mean amongst themselves?
To turn it around. And I think that's where the deflation came from in the tale of two halves, because, here we are watching this Toronto-Montreal game. You're watching Toronto, and, man, they got enough confidence that they're like, we got to go out there and get this. We can get this done. They've been down twice in this game where the aggregate would have had Montreal going. It's a lack of offense. Maybe it's a lack of confidence. I think that's the one thing. And I said it before the Rapids even got into the playoffs. If they were not going to survive, it's because of their lack of offense. And I think that when Seattle scored that goal and the goal differential became what it was, it changed the scenario for the Rapids completely.
I don't think it was a lack of belief per se in themselves in the second half. I think it was more of a what should we do now?
They definitely look confused.
Yeah. Is that a good? I guess that's probably the way to describe it. It was like, okay, there may have been a little shell shock, but I think after this long season and the stuff they've overcome, I don't think that was as big a deal. And we'll hear. Well, we may not hear. Jared talked about that too a little bit post game, but he said the fight was always there and guys didn't give up. But yeah, I just think they weren't sure how to get where they needed to go in that short time span.
Do I defend? Do I attack? How do I do it? Where's the creativity coming from? Where are these chances coming from?
You could see them looking at each other going...
I think what you saw in this game was how big a deal Cronin really is. I think his leadership on the field and it not being there really has a big impact. And on top of that, then you also have Howard missing. And though McMath did the first half of the season a leader, I think people looked at Howard as another leader on that field. And with both of them missing, I think that you're missing two veteran players that you might rely on to kind of go, hey, get your heads in the game, let's push, let's go. They really know what you're doing, and then you're putting that kind of pressure on someone like Powers or Zira and Jones. Really, in the second half of the season, hasn't been that impressive as a leader on that field.
He hadn't been there,
so I think you're just seeing the two hits we took in the playoffs.
Let me ask this too, just open question: what'd you guys think of the starting lineup?
I was okay with it.
Yeah.
Given the restraints, not having Sam Cronin, and really kind of looking at the roster and what you have, I felt like he did the right thing. I felt like everyone that could have contributed were out there. I think that if Sebastian Letou was 2 years younger, or maybe had been playing a lot more,
or had dreadlocks and was wearing number 94,
or had passed to him, that, we might be in a different situation right now, and we would be watching this game with who are we playing? Who's coming to the Mile High City? Mm-hmm. And, unfortunately, just, that's just water under the bridge at this point. Yeah. But let me ask everybody here at this point, now that the season's over and we kind of saw how we lost, what would be your takeaway from this season, and what would be the one thing you think would be critical that the FO needs to do moving forward to better our performance? I mean, we set the bar pretty high for next year when you consider, we were second in Supporter Shield. We had home field advantage. Mm-hmm. We were looking at hosting the Cup if we had made it through.
Undefeated at home.
Regular
home. Season. That doesn't happen.
That set the bar pretty high.
Exactly.
Now, we're going to lose a third of the roster just due to contracts not being up, not being a team fit. We're going to lose at least one guy, or that's all we can lose from the expansion draft.
Yeah, money.
Then you have waiver stuff, trades, whatnot. So some things are going to happen in the offseason.
And because it always does. I mean,
What would be, so yeah, what's the
You need to
takeaway
pick up
and the thing that you
And
need to
offense. We need to pick up some more, like a really big star offensively. Because like Doyle's great, Gashy's great, but I think we need someone that's just truly a leader up there. And I think we didn't have that because neither of them really are that type of person that you're like, oh, I can rely on that guy 90% of the time to put the ball on net and 75% of the time make it where the keeper has to actually make a save.
So would you say we need
missing that. Well, because Pablo's shown that he can put a defense together with nothing. He put the best defense in the league out there with minimal money put on that outside of Howard. And even before Howard came, we had the best defense in the league. So he's shown that doesn't matter the pieces he's given, he can do that. Now what we need is someone to really take a leadership role on that offensive side. And I think that Pablo needs someone that's a talented player to really do that, because I don't think Pablo's got the mindset to do it. And Spenny didn't do it this year, whether that's because Pablo was in the way or for whatever reason, he didn't get that offense going.
I mean, how much can he really have a hand in that, though?
technique at this point?
Yeah.
Really, I mean, the stuff we've seen from practice over this last season, that's what he's doing. Is he's helping them with technique. He's helping individuals. He's helping the forwards. You would think, well, and Baji could have had more goals had he finished better. But if you think about it, his finishing was way worse in April than it was in August. Mm-hmm. So there has been some, production when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, we've been saying there's a lack of offense, and we talk about, well, there's Kevin Doyle, there's Skelch and Gashi. We had Jones in an offensive role. Obviously not going to be an issue next year. We're going to need to have someone else fill that role. So would you say, Austin, we need a striker, or, as Brian was giving hand gestures, a number 10?
Not those hand gestures.
We can. It's so hard because like every time we try and pick up a number 10, it's terrible. We could bring Wayne Rooney into this squad and he might fail at that number 10.
Hot rumor.
For some reason it's just cursed. But if outside of that, I would say a number 10 would be more important. I think that you have the strikers. You have Doyle, you have Gashi, you keep them. Even if you let Doyle go, he's a little pricey. And you put Baji up there and you have Hairston. If you can get a guy that can truly distribute from there and can score pretty decently, like Jones was doing at the beginning of the season. Yeah. He just didn't do it when he came back. He did not have the same oomph and the same effect.
I think it depends on what he wants to do with Gashi. If he wants him to step into that 10 role, awesome. Then we need probably one or two wingers or somebody who can score from different positions. But if they're going to keep Gashi out there, which we've seen that he likes, because he likes to wander all over, then you got to get a 10. Because you're probably not going to put Dylan back in there. Jermaine's gone. Papa's going to be gone, let's be honest. Spoiler. I don't know who else was going to
put third in that role, because I think that you need some leadership up there that's truly leadership.
But who?
I don't know who you'd pick up. I really don't know who's on the market for that kind of stuff.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't hear who you said to put in there.
Cerno.
Oh, okay. He won't put Dylan in
No, he said you don't put Cerno in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that the only thing we're missing?
I agree definitely with the offense. I mean, it just needs to be more cohesive, and definitely with the leadership. I mean, that's what I see. Not exactly the most experienced soccer critic, but that's
neophyte.
You
Yeah.
can't complain about the defense. You can't. The best defense in the league didn't lose at home until the playoffs.
The second half of the very last step.
Yeah, there's just you can't hold anything against them. They did their job.
It was a great season. I mean, Colorado is definitely on the radar.
Yeah, I mean, for me, my takeaway is
30 seconds. Sorry, I'm being real hard on this one. Starting 11.
oh wow,
Go,
we're
finish.
still in-
Go, 20 seconds.
It was an epic season compared to last year. And like I was saying earlier, we set the bar extremely high for next year. And I expect a lot of people to get disappointed. But I think it'll be a good year. And I think that they're going to do nothing but the right things. Even though we're going to question it, I guarantee that there's going to be things that are going to happen between now and the Desert Diamond Cup that they're going to do and we're going to scratch our head at. But every time that they've done something where we've scratched our head, time has only proven that it's been like,
Yeah.
okay. And Gashi would be one of the big ones there. Or even Jones. Like, holy crap, where did it come from? And when you look at the Jones situation, he's asking for more money. He wants to go things. We'll hear more a little bit from him, later on. But I think that the Rapids and Padraig got him for a steal. When you consider we paid $500,000, we barely got a half a season out of him.
Not even.
Not
Got 10
even.
games, 9 games?
Right. And a little bit of production, a little bit of, there was probably a lot of stuff in the locker room that the guys picked up on.
And on training pitch, yeah.
That might have been worth $500,000, and that was good. But I think that the Rapids got a hell of a deal picking up Jermaine Jones when they did and for how long they did, despite the whole situation. Shake hands. It was worth it.
It was, the
Not
games
so
they did
bad.
play, if you
Okay,
could look at it, he's gravy.
You're over a minute over already.
All right.
Good stuff. Good talk.
Let's hear some audio from the boys
all right.
kind of reflecting on the game. Who do we got first?
So we're going to hear first from Kevin Doyle, who Austin knows I'm on his bandwagon, so we do not get rid of Kevin Doyle.
No.
This was,
I think he's a little pricey, but I still think he's worth keeping.
yeah, I think, well, we can get into my opinion later, but those are like, so this was just the question I posed to him was, hey, so much good in the first half. Did you expect it to carry through in the second half, and were you surprised it didn't?
We no doubt before the game, none of us, no doubt for the last few months, no doubt all season. Honestly, we've been talking about getting to the MLS final for months, and we've taken one game at a time. But deep down, everyone was very confident, and I think we showed in the first half we were a good team. We played well. We were on top. It was the opposite of the game in Seattle where they were on top. Today it swung around to us, but it was a bit cat and mouse. They were cagey. They were happy to sit back and let us have possession. Everyone behind the ball for them, and then, as I said, they pounced on us. It was a good goal from their point of view, but a poor one from ours.
Good. Did he say they pantsed us?
Deep pantsed them pretty much.
Kind of what happened, I guess. Yeah.
It's a little drafty.
Kind of almost sounded like Seattle beat us at our own game there a little.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was.
Didn't they do the same to Dallas? Shouldn't we have expected?
Well, what they did to Dallas is they let Dallas sit back and defend and then counterattack the hell out of them, which the Rapids were smart and counterattacked that whole philosophy when they went to Seattle and seemed to have forgotten. Or Schmetzer did a better job of adjusting. And, who knows? But, it kind of does sound a little bit like, they did beat us at our game a little bit. But, what do you expect from, a guy who just lost a playoff game? And, he's trying to give you the honest answer and PC at the same time.
Yeah.
It's the hardest time to talk to somebody is right after your season ends.
Yeah, and they were.
Hey, at least he didn't Cam Newton it and just walk the fuck off.
Right. That's why I was glad. That's why I requested to talk to him because he's been there before. He's played internationals and relegation and promotion games, so you knew he was going to be a little more clear-headed. And, yeah.
So what did Watsy think?
Let's hear from Jared Watts. He's going to basically, this was a question asked to him about the goal that was scored. Because if you remember, Jared was kind of involved in the beginning of the play. He cleared the ball. It kind of was a wonky clearance, but he still got it out. But then it just kind of went downhill from there. So.
Whenever you're ready.
I think a ball got played out wide. The cross came in. I remember running over and trying to get a head on it. Didn't get a good clearance on it. Didn't connect well with it. Went back into the middle. I can't remember who picked it up for them, but just kind of slipped it through. We were out of sorts a bit there, and Morris did well to finish there. Chipped it over Zach. It's just something we can't give him a chance there, especially coming out starting the second half. I think it was like the 55th minute or so. Completely changes the game, and we're chasing even more from there. So, credit to them. Good team. Got high at the right time, and yeah.
There you go.
I need an interpreter. What did you just say? I got the ums and the yes.
Yeah. It was a clusterfuck. I didn't get a hold of it all, and they picked it up, and we just got caught on our heels.
And it was funny, his face while he was talking was just kind of, you could tell he was thinking, God, do I have to really talk about this?
I think he's going to go emo and come back with like long black hair.
I was just thinking, when you did that face, I was thinking of the kid in Days Confused. Every time he gets frustrated, he puts his fingers on his nose. He's like, I was just, and you said emo and black hair, and he did, and he, it kind of, I had that whole vision of just the Dazed and Confused, just, but anyway, I digress.
That's because we're laid back.
Yeah, man. Well.
You know what I love about high school?
High school girls, yeah.
Now that we've heard from a couple guys, you could kind of even tell just in the way that they're talking, even though they're trying to keep it upbeat and they're PC, they're disappointed. And no matter who you are, even, Montreal fans here, Toronto fans, Seattle, when it's all over, you're going to be disappointed if you ended up on the L. If you're not carrying that trophy, if you're not hoisting it, having a parade a few days later, then you're disappointed.
There's only one team that's not pissed off at the end.
Right. And unfortunately, we were the third team to be disappointed.
Hey, there's 18 teams that would trade positions with us right now.
Word.
Right.
Dallas.
There you go.
So cheer the fuck up.
At least we're not Dallas.
We have to look. The problem is we have to look forward. Like you're gonna, like you said, there's only one team that wins it all, and I was hopeful this season, and everybody got caught up in that. The team was doing really good, especially compared to the last two seasons. But you can't come out of the season looking negatively at it.
No, this was a historic season.
Great season.
You can't really look negative.
There's not much more you can ask out of a team. The playoffs are just a difficult place to be. We were the second best team during the season, and that was only by a couple points.
2.
Like you're looking at a team that's top 2 or 3 in the league, probably overall. There's not a lot to complain about as a Rapids fan. Even with the loss, there's always things the team can work on. Even the championship team has things to work on. Look what happened to Portland.
So
championship didn't even make the playoffs this year. So the playoffs are just a really weird thing, and they're hard to play in. And we were missing quite a few veteran players in this last game, and I think that's really what hurt us. But they'll be back next season, or at least a good chunk of them, and we can see just nothing but improvement.
So, what was probably everybody's favorite moment of the season?
I found a quarter on the tarmac one time.
Nice job.
Awesome.
Oh, man. It's hard to pick out one specific moment.
I got 2.
Kevin Doyle coming out to the tailgate was one.
Okay, I got 3
enjoyed
now. That was
I was going to
cool.
say all of Snow Classico 2.
Yeah.
From Kevin Doyle coming to the tailgate.
That whole game was pretty awesome. Jermaine Jones coming out of the tailgate.
And you know what?
was something
Time
we didn't
out, because
expect.
I want to give kudos to my man on my right, Matt. Because every player appearance at a tailgate was really largely
Orchestrated.
due to him.
Matt was puppet master.
So, and I think those were awesome. Like we talked all season. Who else does that?
No one.
Nobody.
No one.
It's amazing what you
So
can get if
there's
you
a
just
big-
ask.
Attaboy for you, my friend.
Nobody's probably asking. It's amazing what will happen when you ask, and that's something I've learned
Yeah, I mean they could tell
in
us to
my
fuck off
job
next
and
year.
in my
but-
life.
Yeah,
It might not continue, but Caitlin and Porig were awesome as well.
Yeah,
And it comes to the advantage of being a part of a supporters group that has a decent relationship with the front office.
Well,
I think the problem is a lot of them don't.
Yeah.
And speaking of front office, I think this would probably be a good time to give a little bit of thanks,
Wait, do you want my two? You want my two important?
and acknowledgement to Richard Clark, because
Yeah.
he is moving on and will not be with the club. So best of luck to you, sir, and thank you very much for getting us in the door. And we
Yeah.
wouldn't be the voice of C38 and everything else that we are today if it wasn't for having that first meeting with him at the beginning of the year this year. So
Nice. Cheers, mate.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
And then, back to our favorite moments of the season.
Oh, okay.
To finish off on mine, game-wise, there really isn't a game that sticks out that I'm like, yeah, that was an awesome game. There's a couple moments here and there, but I think for me, the best part of the season was the tailgates. Just straight up. And it was because of the players. Like what we had to offer for everyone else to come out the tailgates and interviewing those guys for them and offering autographs and pictures and
Yeah, talk about setting the bar.
doing that kind of stuff. Yeah.
For next year.
That was my favorite moment. But I think outside the tailgate, just Gashy. Just everything Gashy for me. Like just his goals, his presence, the
Jesus.
press conference, like just everything. Like for me, just Gashy. My favorite moment, favorite player. right
I was
now.
thinking about Gashi because,
His birthday's coming up.
yeah. That was a good one.
See what I did there?
I thought he was born in August.
No, but
Not to Matt.
That's a little Matt joke, everyone.
with
I'm
the
not
whole
being, blasphemous.
Come on,
I'll be blasphemous.
Okay.
No, but in the whole wake of the whole Jermaine Jones being a dick kind of thing, it's like this is why we got to thank God we got Gashi. Why Gashi chose us, and why Gashi is such a classy guy.
Yes.
I mean, he's not going to do that kind of thing when he goes. If he ever goes, I hope he doesn't.
and
He
a
may ask
fun
for
dude.
more money, and depending on the end of his contract, depending on if he continues to progress, we might give it to him.
So Jones is the anti-Gashi.
But-
that's what I want to say.
Yeah, I like that. So, what? Who's next? Favorite moment?
Go for it, man.
Oh, I did. Snow Class Go 2. No, Snow Class Go 2.
Oh, you got it?
Snow Class Go 2 really was my favorite day.
Yeah.
All of it. I mean,
That was fun.
that was like our second player appearance.
Yeah.
And it was Doyle, who is
Yeah.
a fan favorite all the way. Plus, we had to build an igloo for him because the weather sucked so bad. And there was like nobody at the tailgate. And then Kevin Doyle shows up. I turn around and there's 150 people materialized out of nowhere just because of, I like to think because of Kevin Doyle.
Absolutely, it was all because of Kevin Doyle.
And from then on, and then going on and winning that game. And it was great.
That set the karma.
yeah, that was pretty
Well,
much.
part of the early days.
That was what proved that we weren't a one-hit flash in the pan kind of thing. It wasn't
Yeah.
just the Jones appearance, but we could sustain this as long as the club will play along.
Right.
And that's when they really started to trust us too, because security got way more lax after that. And they're like, "Oh, we'll just send you Eric Miller. You're fine. We trust you to crowd control. We trust you for questions." They even gave us Papa eventually because we earned that trust with them. But
I don't think
it all
people
began
realize
with-
how big that is.
that
That's
was
true.
huge. That was
That's
huge.
very
Nobody
true.
else got him. Nobody.
Nope.
Oh,
Not
no.
another interview with
Not the
Papa.
Denver Post. Not like MLS.
Only
Like
people to do it, and we did it in front of the fans.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's huge.
And these fans are great too. The fans never gave us any reason to worry.
No. So yeah, kudos to all the fans too, because if something had gone south, you can be sure that would have been pulled for good,
Yep.
and they didn't. So look at Porg came out, Cello and Richard.
Twice.
Yep.
Yep. All right, Brian, yours.
Okay, I told you I had a two-banger. I had a twofer. First one was the Kevin Doyle away goal in Seattle to win there for the first time since
Their history?
Dear
6
Lord,
years?
Dear Lord, baby Jesus was a baby.
Yeah. Since Gashi was born.
Yep. I like to think of my baby Jesus in a tuxedo T-shirt.
With a tag Hoyer.
That was fun, because it hadn't been done, and just I think there's so many things this season that hadn't been done, And that really kind of started, I think, the ball rolling and things like that. So that was cool. And I think that second leg playoff with LA, the atmosphere was unbelievable. Mm-hmm. That was the loudest I've ever heard that stadium since it's been open. And I've been there almost every stinking game.
Me too.
Super loud, super energized. The feeling after that last PK save, it just felt like the whole place just erupted, and it was awesome. One little thing I just want to request real quick from all the listeners. We want to start thinking about next season.
You mispronounced all the listener.
Oh, sorry.
And her name is Mrs. Miller.
Her name is Brendan's wife. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
First of all, thanks for being with us for this season, first and foremost. But give us some ideas what you want to hear next season. What you want to see.
The off season.
Yeah, and during the off season, what you want to see during the podcast. One of my questions is, as I get player interviews, would you rather hear the audio like you did today, or would you rather see it in written form on our website, or both? We're happy to produce both. One thing we do have kind of in the can soon is a nice little piece on Dennis Castillo.
Hopefully he's with us a little longer.
Yeah. So stuff like that you can read on the website, but we'll always pull some audio when we can. Obviously, that's not going to happen for a couple months, but let us know at our Twitter, the voice of C38.
I think it's at voice. Is it at the or at voice?
At the.
The voice of C38.
On that wonderful note, let us know, please.
Speaking of Lion, we're going to end with some Snoop Lion.
Doesn't sound like Snoop Lion.
It is, dude. Just wait.
Can we get some Shaggy instead?
You want to cut it and go to Shaggy?
You just ask Brendan to shag you.
See you guys next week.
This is why you're voted off. You can't hear things.